coaching can offer is essentially a clear definition of commonly agreed and expected outcome. So what are we going to achieve, and helping the inspirational aspect, analyzing all the what if until we have a very clear goal and a clear outcome. Inspiration to perform and deliver. Once you decide you're going to do this, whatever this is, it's about supporting who is, or the team or the individuals that are supposed to be supported and inspired. And motivation to keep going by looking at the big picture. So very often we narrow down our vision to a very micro vision of something. We don't look at the big picture. What is the final goal? What is what we're trying to achieve in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year? And looking at the big picture, you can say, okay, yes, I'm climbing a big mountain. If you always see a bit of rocks in front of you, but if you can zoom out at some point and say, okay, I was down here, now I'm middle of the mountain, that's the peak, then maybe I'm a bit inspired. Yes, I'm already half of the way. But if I'm always seeing rocks, and I don't see up and I don't look down, I don't realize how much I progress. So it's very important, this aspect. So the definition, visualization, inspiring, motivation. It sounds like very chitty-chatty words for perhaps for some people that work. Sometimes I work with plumbers or with electricians. When I start talking about inspiring and motivation, they say, oh, come on, you know, I draw wires, I fix. They say yes, but ultimately we are all emotional beings. We are not just mechanical and intellectual. You know, if you are demotivated to something, you're not going to be happy with that. You're not going to do it properly, and therefore, being inspired and say, God, I can do it to whatever, is usually the thing that guarantees success. Okay? Now, coaching a team, these are the 3 questions I ask to anybody who is in front of me when I'm teaching for business in a company. So, would you like to improve the effectiveness of your teams or your team if you have one? Do you have a new formed team that needs to be immediately productive? Nowadays, a lot of companies are resizing, restructuring, cutting, adjusting. It's very easy to find 3, 4, 5, 6 people in a new team, 2 people from another team, and they don't know each other. 2 of them were bosses of a previous team, now they have to work each other. Who's going to be the boss? So this is very important to make sure that everybody starts working straight away from there. And very often, because of what I said before, teams might become dysfunctional. Somebody might be not very happy or not satisfied with what's going on. And dysfunction, one person is enough to destroy the morale and to really hinder the performance of the team as a whole. Okay? So what I offer in my job is get your team, whatever the team is about to do, to commit on shared objective, common purpose, agreed working approach and methodology, working as a team, keeping each other accountable, and usually achieve unthinkable results. It's amazing what I managed to achieve, well, what the team I work with managed to achieve in the last year and a half. One more point about management style. There are essentially many different ways of managing people, okay? But I classify these 2 in the 2 extremes. One is the so-called control and command, the other one is the quiet leadership. Quiet leadership is a very innovative way of managing. That is something that's been defined by a guy called David Rock a couple of years ago. Management style, control and command, however many please you put, if you say, John, do this, or please do this, or will you please do this, this is a control and command. I have decided what John is supposed to be doing, I tell him, and he does it. More or less happy, more or less satisfied with his job, that's a control and command. Okay? That is, because organization derived initially from the military, as soon as small farmers started to become big farmers or industrial companies, where did they borrow their management style? From the army, because that was the only large organization that was in existence when the Industrial Revolution started. So armies got generals, colonel, lieutenants, surgeons, privates, and everybody's, you do this now, and run. And that's more or less the way it gets run. The alternative, the totally alternative, on the other side of the spectrum, the quiet leadership, the title of the book says, quiet leadership, get people to work better, don't tell them what to do. That seems like, oh my God, what the hell am I talking about? Not telling what to do means if somebody comes to me and say, I have a problem, and assuming we are not in an army situation, in a war situation where I'm supposed to do this now, but in general, in most working environment, you can apply this process because most of us are managing clever people. And when you're managing a clever person, you don't necessarily have to tell them every single step of their way what they're supposed to be doing. So if somebody says, I have a problem, I would like to do this, what do you think? I have two options. One is to say, yeah, do A or do B. The other one is asking another question and say, how would you do it? And usually you go, eyes go toward the ceiling and say, I haven't thought about that. And the more you get used to ask questions back, it doesn't mean you want to spend half an hour every time you say, do you want this wall red or white? Well, what do you think? Well, no, that's another question. But in management situation, when you can ask a question that can help the person to clarify what he was asking and how he or she can implement the decision in a way that is more their own, and therefore is owning the idea and the result, you get a lot more happy people working for you. Because you're not anymore telling, you don't know anything, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. Sometimes I do understand there might be situations, but in many cases, it is proven that working on a quiet leadership approach, it works a lot easier and a lot better. The next slide is that is the key point here. Inspiring, motivating, supporting teamwork inside 209 Radio. This was something that I put together now to give you an idea of what I suggest to be doing. But it's going to be up to the team, the management team, and the board or trustees to decide.